Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Vogus. My daughter attended our neighborhood from June 2018 until this year in March 2020. I am currently a student at Rutgers University getting my Master's of Information degree. I hope to work as a librarian in the future. In the spring of 2020, with the help of Jen, the teachers, and the parents at ONCDC, I began to study ONCDC's collection of children's books for my class, Collection Development and Management. This presentation is a high-level summary of my work for the semester. It reflects what I knew about the school at the time. You will hear me refer to the ONCDC Library. This refers to the children's books owned by the school and kept both in the classroom and in the teacher's office. So now, on to my formal presentation. Today, I am going to introduce you to our neighborhood Child Development Center's school library. The library is located in Charlottesville, Virginia, and currently, which was during the spring of 2020, serves parents, teachers, and its students ages birth to 3, with plans to expand to ages birth to 8 years old. Some good background information to know. Today, there is a central collection in the teacher's office area. The teachers select from this collection to populate their classroom libraries for the students. In the future, there may be a central collection that is accessible to the students. Throughout the semester and for this presentation, I focused primarily on the student collection. There is no librarian at ONCDC, no cataloging, and no circulation system. Within the central collection, student materials are organized in a classification system of 6 categories developed in-house. When I began the semester, I was hoping to work for ONCDC during the summer to make recommendations about collection management and development, organization, and access. Unfortunately, my physical access to the school during the summer was limited, but I hope to work on these things in the future. ONCDC is organized into 3 classrooms divided by age. There is a birth to 1-year-old room, a 1 to 2-year-old room, and a 2 to 3-year-old room. There are about 15 teachers at the school and 50 students. So again, this was what I knew at the time of spring 2020, before we moved to the new location. All 3 classrooms are united by a mission to support social constructivist learning in parents, teachers, and students. ONCDC writes that social constructivist learning is simply that children learn best in the context of secure social relationships, and they construct knowledge through play. Children drive their play, engaging with others, both peers and adults, and revise their theories through engagement with new ideas and information. The reflect, plan, play cycle is an example of social constructivist learning in practice. Students and teachers are both participants in the cycle. With teachers' help, students play, reflect on their play, and make plans to deepen their exploration. All classrooms are united by 3 curriculum goals. Support young children to build essential life skills. These are from Ellen Galinsky's Mind in the Making, and they are focus and self-control, perspective taking, communication, making connections, critical thinking, taking on challenges, and self-directed engaged learning. Number 2, help children develop their knowledge across content areas through their natural curiosity and desire to learn. And number 3, foster relationships between children, teachers, and families. The image on the left here comes from Kulichik and Lemish's 2011 Birth Through 6 Communication Needs and Skills Table and Implications for Communication from the United Nations Children's Fund. I found it useful to understand some of the potential needs of students at ONCDC. For example, Kulichik and Lemish note that children focus on concrete aspects of reality, what I can see, hear, touch, and they experience new and often frightening emotions. Regarding students' families, children most likely come from families with highly educated and employed parents. The majority are coming from affluent families relative to state averages. Families report spending most of their free time either at home or out in public parks or trails. Today, classroom items, including library materials, are purchased as needed throughout the year using a lightweight approval process and a classroom budget for all materials. Teachers submit their purchase requests on a teacher-only messaging board and then go forward with their purchase after addressing questions and concerns. Jennifer Slack, the owner of ONCDC, estimated that the school spends about $120 a month on books for both teachers and students, with books for teachers being the largest expense of the two. The current process presents two challenges. It may result in an imbalanced collection if one or a few teachers are very active with their purchase requests and others are not. It also does not account for price differences between audiences and book format. For example, adult books are much more expensive than children's board books. I propose that in the future, the budget should be allocated by audience and adult and student, and then within the student allocation by classroom. Historical spend and current average cost of materials should be used to calculate the percentage allocated to each category. In selecting materials today, teachers are asked to consider two questions. Will this purchase support you to better pursue the purpose of one of your roles? Does this hold children as competent thinkers? There is no formal collection development policy. I propose the following selection criteria. The primary materials selection criteria should be, does it support social constructivist learning at ONCDC? If the answer is no, the material should not be added to the collection. In order to identify whether material supports social constructivist learning at ONCDC, the librarian teacher should ask the following questions. Does this material invite deeper exploration of learners' interests? Does it support or enhance existing project work? Does this work relate to the plan, play, reflect cycle ongoing in each classroom and at home? Some additional criteria might be, is it age appropriate? To answer this question for children's materials, the teacher librarian should consider Kalichi and Lemich's Birth through 6 Communication Needs and Skills Table and Implications for Communication list. Is it high quality? Is it the right format? I also propose using MUSTY, which is an acronym MUSTY, as deselection criteria, meaning remove it from the collection. The M stands for misleading, outdated information such as stereotyping. The U stands for unable to mend. The S stands for superseded, an updated copy is available. The T stands for trivial, it doesn't meet our quality standards. And the Y stands for your collection. So in our case, this would be, it doesn't support the emerging learning of parents, teachers, or children. And this should be the primary deselection criteria. For my collection evaluation, I use two evaluation methods, collection profile and list checking, and propose two, user observation and collection mapping. The ONCDC Library has about 500 books in its student collection, with about 350 in the central collection and 150 out in the classrooms. I selected about 10% of the books from both collections for closer analysis and determined that most of the books are from within the last 10 years, and almost 95% of the books I sampled were in English. Although there are double the number of hardback or paperback books to board books in the whole collection, there are about an equal number of board books to hardback paperback books circulating in the classroom. I used a method developed by Jensen in 2018 to conduct what they referred to as a reverse diversity audit using list checking. Jensen suggested evaluating representation of different groups within your collection through checking your collection against different organizations' lists of recommended books. Rainbow Book List, developed by the Rainbow Roundtable of the American Library Association, recommends quality books with significant and authentic GLBTQ content. I compiled Rainbow Book List's last 5 years of board and picture book recommendations into a single list and compared that to the ONCDC collection. None of the books from the list were found in the collection. To evaluate the subject coverage of the collection and its fit to the curriculum, I recommend that in the future, ONCDC teachers collaborate to map the curriculum and school projects to Library of Congress subject headings. The collection can then be evaluated to determine how well it meets curriculum goals. In addition, in the future, an ONCDC librarian should employ user observation at both the new central collection and classroom collections to observe how students are and are not using the library. I have 4 main proposals for the ONCDC library. Number 1, institute a catalog and circulation system. Number 2, complete collection evaluation. Number 3, develop a formal collection policy. And number 4, manage the budget through allocating by audience and format. I won't belabor my proposal for the budget as I covered it earlier in this presentation. In general, all 4 of these recommendations are a shift from ad hoc, decentralized collection development and management to a more centralized and planned collection development and management strategy. I believe that this shift will ensure that the ONCDC library develops a collection that is balanced, meets the needs of both its users and the curriculum, and reflects the diversity of the world around us. Instituting a catalog and circulation system may be thought of as a precursor to completing collection evaluation. Cataloging books, which includes, among other things, describing the book's publication date, its language, subject coverage, and often a brief synopsis, will help future teachers or librarians better understand what is included in the collection. It will also help students, teachers, and parents find books that meet their needs, as they will be able to look at more descriptive information than just the title and cover. Monitoring the circulation of books, which classroom they are in, how long they are in use for within the classrooms, and if applicable in the future, how often they are checked out by students, will give future teachers and librarians data about which books are popular selections for which groups of students. With regard to my second recommendation, completing collection evaluation through conducting a collection mapping will evaluate the collection's fit to the school curriculum. ONCDC is about to move to a new space, open up its central collection to students, and expand the age range that it serves. A collection evaluation will help the school determine if there are books that they can leave behind and set goals to expand the collection to fill gaps in its match to curriculum as well as audience level. As Johnson 2018 argued, a thorough collection evaluation can be the basis for developing a collection policy. I believe that knowing where we are is key to understanding where we want to go. Aside from reevaluating the materials within the collection evaluation might lead to ONCDC revisiting its classification system. The ONCDC library has developed its own classification system by creating the following categories. 1, feelings and emotions. 2, rhyming and wordplay. 3, animals. 4, nature. 5, transportation and physics. And 6, culture or arts. Understanding more about how the community uses the collection and how the collection fits curriculum and student needs might lead to new categories or subdividing existing categories. For example, feelings and emotions might be broken down into anger, worry, sadness, joy. A formal collection policy would tell the whole community why some materials are included in the collection and why some materials are not. It is a communication tool to foster understanding between everyone about the goals of the collection. An excellent policy is based on community analysis, an examination of community needs, and collection evaluation, an examination of the collection as it currently exists and how it is being used. A policy brings these things together to describe the current situation and lay out a positive vision for what ONCDC wants its library to look like in the future. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my presentation. If you have any follow-up questions or wish to get a copy of the references cited in this presentation, please contact me via Slack or my email at rvogus@gmail.com. Thanks very much.